People change more. Know yourself and we will win this war. Too many problems and enough solutions. You're in the equation, but you're nothing but a nuisance. A nuisance. We're gonna change your mind. Look inside yourself and find hate, find fear. Your life is over here. You want to fade from time, reaching out from the inside your face. Well, it'll disappear with years. In a dying world, we are so much more than money and clothes and things we can't afford. You must find a way to break down this door, and you'll find yourself in a brighter world. We're gonna change your mind. Look inside yourself and find hate, find fear. Your life is over here. You want to fade from time, reaching out from the inside your face. Well, it'll disappear with years. Wide awake, I dream of a place where we used to live. Our situations were irrelevant. Don't push your problems on me now. I'll push them back till you fall. I'll push them back till you fall. You must find a way to break down this door. Then you'll find yourself in a brighter world. We're gonna change your mind. Look inside yourself and find hate, find fear. Your life is over here. You want to fade from time, reaching out from the inside your face. Well, it'll disappear with years. We're gonna change your mind. Look inside yourself and find hate, find fear. Your life is over here. Cutting away, selling the honesty, and all the ties that bind. Cutting away, suffering the consequence of all the times I lied to you for the whole. Welcome in, everybody, to the Booty Scoot Racing channel, live here for Championship Week here for the Next Gen Cup Series for the Madness Racing League. We have spent 10 races heading out to this very moment right here, ladies and gentlemen. We're live here in Chicago, Joliet, Illinois, at the Chicagoland Motor Speedway for
Season 2. We're getting ready to crown our final championship winner here. Whoever wins tonight will win the championship for the Next Gen Cup Series that has been pushing and going ever since the beginning of damn near July. Welcome down here on the main broadcast live for the Next Gen Cup Series Season 2 Championship Race live here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. We are moments away from taking the green flag here in the practice session. We'll have the qualifying here tonight for you folks and have that right around the corner momentarily. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Madness Racing League Next Gen Cup Series Championship Race. We'll have everything that you are looking for here tonight coming into tonight's playoff battle at the line. Here are the final 4 contestants competing for it tonight. Jonathan Smith, James Fallon, Chase Johnson, and Holden Wheeler will be your final 4 drivers kicking it off here tonight for the Madness Racing League Next Gen Cup Series. Live here in Chicago, Illinois. We're getting ready to go racing down on the main broadcast. Got a couple more minutes remaining here in the practice session. Live here for the Madness Racing League. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not headed over to the YouTube page located in the top right portion of your screen, go ahead and do us a favor and do that. Guys are dialing in these race cars. We're at the moment of qualifying right around the corner. Who's going to do what, when, where, and why? They got to do it early. Tons of points are available to stack up here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you did not see the poster board there, it is going to be if you are the final 4 drivers here tonight, win and you are in. If not, outscore your opponent. Every lap led is 1 point added to your total score. There are bonus points out here in the Madness Racing League for like the hard charger, the pole, the most laps led, stuff like that. White flag is in the air here for the practice session. So I've got about 12 guys out here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel tonight trying to make something shake. And 4 of these guys are being lucky to possibly find their way to calling themselves a champion. Qualifying is right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we will head underneath the sun here. The lights will be on for tonight's main event. Who's going to be the lucky contestant? Number 1 here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel for the qualifying session. Looks like we got our first and upcoming going driver. That's going to be the number 33 Coors Light Silver Bullet Chevy Camaro of Tony Cook. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're now tuning in for the first time here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel, let me get it up and close and personal for you. Tony Cook winless here in the Madness Racing League. He had several shots at going the victory lane, just fell short by a smudge bit, ran out of gas at the Texas Motor Speedway in season 1 and came so close to picking up another win. Tons of other time. The one-time heat race winner to kick off the Xfinity Series for Tony Cook. He's on the clock now for the qualifying session here in the championship race. Tony Cook not racing for the championship here tonight, but doesn't mean he can't have a chance to go to victory lane. He's up and glam on the bank, and he'll slap the outside wall. About to cancel out that lap right there. Looks like we'll switch on over to the next contestant. Here comes the number 4 Madness Racing League Xfinity Series Season 2 champion of Kevin Tanko. So Kevin Tanko, you see it right there on his thing. He is the Season 2 champion for the Xfinity Series. Didn't get to make it here to the Cup Series. Rush Motorsports fielding this number 4 Outback Steakhouse, number 4 Chevy Camaro for Kevin Tanko's. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Tanko's bad fast here in the Next Gen Cup Series League. Got a win, almost had another one at the Richmond. Was it Richmond? I believe, yes, it was Richmond Motor Speedway that we went to here in the Next Gen Cup Series. No, it might have been, it was Iowa, excuse me, that Kevin Tanko's, as my memory is starting to fade here, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Tanko's picked up the win at the Iowa Speedway almost, but Jonathan Smith snapped it over him. He's had some speed all year long, though, and the Hawthorns driver comes across, P1 on the board. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll switch over here. You know how we do it. 1 lap apiece is how you'll get it. Chase Johnson, driver the number 51. Chase Johnson racing Chevy Camaro, the Ocean Lakes Camaro down the back straightaway. Chase Johnson racing for a championship here tonight. He's defending his Season 1 champion from where we raced the Gen 6 Cup cars. Breaking news from the garage. We'll bring that later to you as we continue on with tonight's event. Chase Johnson selling across the line. P2 on the board. Off of pit road, here comes the pink and blue number 23 Gorilla Mine Toyota Camry of John Michael Bryant. John Michael Bryant didn't have the Next Gen Cup Series season that he was looking for coming in here tonight at Chicago, and he said this was one of his better racetracks. The guys really brought him a piece to work with in practice. He's just got to snag a great qualifying position right now. He's heading across the line, and he's on the board, heading into turns 1 and 2. Maybe this will be one of the topics here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. How is that sun affecting these guys off the exit of turn 2 down the back straightaway, where it is beginning to set behind the nice mountain stands here in the windy city of Chicago, Illinois. John Michael Bryant climbing the banking in the turns 3 and 4. He'll like to rip the top side of the racetrack for his first lap. John Michael Bryant tracking really well here right now off the exit of turns 3 and 4. Down the bottom side of the racetrack, John Michael Bryant. P1 on the board that time around. Got a couple more guys out here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel turning laps, like the number 18 Blackout Bass Pro Shops Ford Mustang from Troy, Alabama, of Trent Hughes. He'll climb the banking through turns 1 and 2, hauling ass down the back straightaway. Bass Pro Shops on board for Trent Hughes. Again, folks, he takes over the 50-50 partnership with his brother Terry Hughes Jr., who is in the field tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Trent Hughes now in charge of things over at 81XI Racing. He'll climb down the bottom side of the racetrack and come across the line. P6 on the board for Trent Hughes. Trent Hughes, we talked to him in the garage. Trent Hughes said that was one of the things that they struggled with, was qualifying. And now that he had a little bit more ownership in the program, he would try to change around the qualifying program. Jonathan Smith climbs the banking through 3 and 4. Jonathan Smith racing for the championship here tonight, as he earned his way at the North Wilkesboro Speedway with the win. He'll head off the exit of turns 3 and 4, and he's tracking really good right now towards the pole. P1 for Jonathan Smith on his second lap. He'll knock the boogeyman out from the top spot. Looks like we got one more driver out there on the racetrack cutting another lap. That's the Coleman, Alabama, number 9 Mountain Dew Baja Blast Camaro of Ty Robertson. Ty Robertson has came into the Madness Racing League, a part-time driver. And then, besides the Xfinity Series, where we have already moved on another season, but when he joined in the Cup Series, he's part-time, so he didn't have a chance to come to the championship race here tonight. Hotman across the line. P1 on the board for Ty Robertson. These guys just keep exchanging the pole out here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Ty Robertson, it looks like he'll call it quit that time around. Corey Tessner's parked at the exit of pit road, but it looks like he can't get at the fire. He'll call it quits here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Do we have any more contestants looking to call it here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel? And it looks like I'm being told by the admin, no, that'll call it right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, that means Ty Robertson will be on the pole here tonight from Coleman, Alabama, as the time was winding down there in the qualifying session. Getting ready to head down onto the racetrack here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Appreciate you guys joining in. This will be your starting 12 drivers here tonight. Ty Robertson, John Smith share the front row. John Michael Bryant, James Fountain in the second row. Kevin Tankos, Chase Johnson to shake out that third row, followed by Trent Hughes and Nicholas Maynard, 2 Ford Mustangs, rounding out the fourth row. The fifth row belongs to Terry Hughes Jr. and Tony Cook, 2 Chevy Camaros, as Holden Wheeler, the championship Ford contender, heads back in the 11th place spot on the final row with Corey Riptide Tesner. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll get you down here on the racetrack and let you meet your drivers up and close and personal. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you slap that like button, press that follow button, head on over to the YouTube page so you don't miss a damn thing coming your way. Driver the number 9 Mountain Dew Kelly Blue Book Chevy Camaro from Coleman, Alabama. That's Ty Robertson. And on the front row, Premier Setups number 13 Chevy Camaro, driving for the Season 2 championship here tonight in Chicagoland. From Goldsboro, North Carolina, Jonathan Smith. Starting in the second row on the outside, 4th place spot from Greenville, South Carolina, driving the William Byron Apex Grading Jeff Gordon throwback from Greenville, South Carolina. That's James Fountain. James Fountain will be competing for the chance at the championship here tonight. Can he bring home his first Madness Racing League title here tonight at Chicagoland? And ladies and gentlemen, on the bottom side of him will be the number 4 Outback Steakhouse Chevy Camaro from Hawthorne, New Jersey. Not running for the championship here tonight, but he is a Madness Racing League Season 2 Xfinity Series champion. That's Kevin Tankos. And starting on the bottom side in here, they want to skip over him, driving the number 23 Gorilla Mind Toyota Camry from Greer, South Carolina. That's your mom's favorite driver, the Boogeyman, John Michael Bryant. And driving the number 51 Ocean Lake Chevy Camaro from Greer, South Carolina. That's the 4-time iRacing champion, 2-time Madness Racing League champion of Showtime, Chase Johnson. And on the inside of him, driving the number 18 Bass Pro Shop Blackout Bass Pro Shop Ford Mustang from Troy, Alabama. That's Trent Hughes. And starting on the back row behind them from Wolford, South Carolina, driving the number 02 Cooper Standard Ford Mustang. That's the Team Penske Development driver, the 23-year-old of the kid of Nicholas Maynard. Starting in the row behind them, driving the Logitech number 81, Zen Chevy Camaro for Rush Motorsports from Troy, Alabama. That's the older brother looking to rattle his little brother's cage in front of him, Terry Hughes Jr. And we're driving the number 33 Coors Light Silver Bullet Camaro from Greer, South Carolina. Owner of the Home Run Cafe, Tony Cook. And driving the number 7 Champion MSD Ford Mustang from Pelzer, South Carolina. Looking to shake, rattle, and roll. That's Trevo Wall. And driving the third final Chase Johnson racing car here tonight. That's the HendrickCars.com Flow Racing Camaro of Corey Tessner. Rounding out the 13th place spot here tonight, driving the Nap Daddy Racing Lucky 777 Toyota Camry from Ottersville, Georgia. That's Bobby Kyle. And not making it out here on the field tonight, the final Ford Cup Series Championship playoff driver here tonight. That's Holden Wheeler. Ladies and gentlemen, looks like we are getting ready to head back down onto the racetrack, getting ready to go racing here tonight in Chicago and Joliet, Illinois at the Chicagoland Speedway. If you are now joining in for the first time ever here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel, and you have never seen one of our races before, we'll pull up tonight's keys of the race here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Peter the pace car has the lights off on top of the pace car. Where have the keys of the race went to? Whoa, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. There comes our broadcast back into the picture. We apologize for the technical difficulty there. 3 sets of tires here tonight at the Chicagoland Speedway. Peter the pace car heads on back towards your living room. 120 laps around the Chicagoland Speedway here tonight. Save those Goodyear tires. Strategy? What is it? You're going to have to find it. Manage turns 3 and 4. There is a nasty, nasty, nasty bump over here in turns 3 and 4. How will these drivers manage to hold on and adjust these race cars? Finally, the Championship 4 battle here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. 4 guys, 1 race. The highest driver wins it. Outscore your opponents or win the race. Green flag is in the air. We're racing for the Season 2 Championship live here at the Chicagoland Speedway. We're up and ripping through the gears. Robertson on the bottom side. He'll have Smith on the outside, heading through turns 1 and 2. Lap 1, turn 1 and 2 down. We're 3 wide for the race lead. James Fountain sells it to the top side of the racetrack. And him and Jonathan Smith will battle door to door. We're 1 lap complete here tonight in the Season 2 Championship race. And Jonathan Smith racing for the championship here tonight, as well as James Fountain. Here comes Chase Johnson. He'll charge his way up here. 3 of the 4 drivers up here on the track racing for the championship here tonight. Round out the top 4 spots. Jonathan Smith, John Michael Bryan will join the party. They head down into turn 3. Up and ribbon here at the Chicagoland Speedway for the Season 2 Championship here for the Next Gen Cup Series. If you're just now joining us, head on over to the YouTube page located in the top right portion of your screen. All of the full races are posted there, as well as the previous series, the past seasons, whatever you want to call it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a high and tight night here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, 40 to 45 laps in fuel is what I was being told by the admin is what is in fuel for these race cars. Travo Wall down on the bottom side. This Cooper Standard Ford Mustang of Nicholas Maynard sailing backwards. He's back 4 spots from where he's already started here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. You're riding out the front nose of the 02. Willie Izzy trying to try a little bit of strategy, save a little bit of Goodyear rubber. We're up and rolling here. 4 laps are complete here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. James Fountain, John Michael Bryan battle door to door for the race lead. We talked about it during the qualifying session. John Michael Bryant not racing for the playoff here tonight for the championship race. James Fountain and that number 24 right below him is John Michael Bryant said he was cutting nobody was getting any kind of breaks here tonight from this Toyota Camry Gorilla Mind team. They were going to finish off this Next Gen Series strong. John Michael Bryant said he wouldn't know how much he was going to be able to compete in the Gen 6 Cup Series. If you have not watched the previous races here on the Madness Racing League, Gen 6 is set to make a comeback here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel for the Cup Series here. So we will retire the Next Gen race cars after tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, John Michael Bryant, your mom's favorite driver. She rips and roars and lifts her shirt up. Tell her to go ahead and take off those pasties and let those nipples hang. John Michael Bryant ripping and roaring here at Chicagoland. He's out front here. 6 laps complete, trying to spoil the playoff party here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Ladies and gentlemen, smash that like button, press that follow button. Ty Robertson, Kevin Tinko's battle it out for the 5th place spot. Just gets you a really good glimpse of how fast these guys are actually going. Corey Tessler looking 3 wide up the middle with Terry Hughes Jr. and Kevin Tinko's. Have to think better of it here. He'll pull back behind the Outback Steakhouse number 4 of Kevin Tinko's and drive down here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Corey Riptide Tessler driving this HendrickCars.com number 5 Chevy Camaro. And if you didn't know, now you know. Biggie Small Styles, Corey Tessler should be here right now racing for this championship is what he told us in the garage. He was suspended for all on-track activities for the Madness Racing League in each and every series. That would be Cup, Xfinity, Truck, you name it. Ladies and gentlemen, Corey Tessler, though, was put on probation, suspended out of the race league for a month. He comes back into the league. He's been fairly decent so far, as he knows he's riding around on probation in this number 5 machine for Chase Johnson Racing. He'll get around Terry Hughes Jr. here. A quite great move right there. And there goes Trent Hughes. Travel Wall. He'll go around hard on the outside wall, and the caution flag flies. Caution flag flies here on the front straightaway for Travo Wall. Trent Hughes is all kinds of tore up here on the front straightaway. We'll back that ass up for the instant replay here. We were giving you a up and going shit for what the hell's been happening here recently on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Looks like Travo Wall, Trent Hughes make contact somewhere, and the toe link is absolutely smashed in on that number 18 blacked out Bass Pro Shop Ford Mustang, excuse me. So the 2 Ford Mustang Blue Ovals battling it out here. One on the bottom side. That's Kevin Tinko's way up in front of him. Trent Hughes, though, slides up for the bottom side of the racetrack and just sandwiches Travo Wall. Travo Wall chases it back down the racetrack. He'll have none of that here tonight at the Chicagoland Speedway. And that car is absolutely jacked up. But Travo Wall, sandwich to the outside, safe for a barrier. We'll back that ass up here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. For one more great look, see if we can't ride out the front nose of Travo Wall and that number 7 champion Ford Mustang, that blackout Bass Pro Shop 18 machine was right below him through the corner. Looks like Trent Hughes really sent it off in there, just got tight, shipped it up the racetrack. So the AMR safety crew will come out on the racetrack. 9 laps are complete here in the championship race for Season 2 of the Next Gen Cup Series, live here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Travo Wall, Trent Hughes, the first incident here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. We'll be back in just a moment. Stick it right here. Don't go nowhere. Bang, bang! Welcome back here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Here was the remaining schedule as we are finally working our final race here of the Next Gen Cup Series, live for the Madness Racing League right here in Chicagoland for the championship race. Ladies and gentlemen, getting ready to head back to the green flag this time around. Will we have any takers down onto pit road to service their vehicles? Looks like everybody will stay out on the racetrack. No, Nicholas Maynard, Trent Hughes, Travo Wall, call a Houdini here. They'll go backwards from the rest of the pack and bring it down on the pit road. Nicholas Maynard saying this race car is a tag too snug, through turns 3 and 4. We're really being able to absorb the bumps well, but I got to be a little bit freer if you want me to do something about it. It'll be Sunoco race fuel only here for the 02 machine. Trent Hughes pulling down on the racetrack saying, I'm not sure what happened there. Got tied up the racetrack, sandwiched Travo Wall. Travo Wall says it feels like he killed the right front toe link. They'll jack it up. It'll be 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a can of Sunoco Racing fuel here for Travo Wall. They'll top off his Sunoco Racing fuel, Nicholas Maynard, and then we'll drop the jack. It'll be 2 cans of Sunoco Racing fuel, so he'll be a little bit up on the gas advantage. Travo Wall will sit down here, try to get his crew to beat up on this toe link a little bit as they assess the damage. And it looks like John Michael Bryant is holding on to the race lead here as they head back to the turn 3 entry. Live here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel, you're watching the Season 2 Championship race for the Next Gen Cup Series. Ladies and gentlemen, we were talking before we headed up underneath, before we headed to the commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, here are your schedule, and I apologize for having that up there. We'll get you back down here on the main broadcast. We have all kinds of shit going up here. We have tons of guys up here trying to keep score, make sure it's fair for the broadcast. This guy right down here is leaning. He's had one too many beverages here tonight. Somebody make sure you take the keys from him. He does not want to find a way out of this racetrack and behind the wheel like our race car drivers. Ladies and gentlemen, coming across the starter cam, heading back into turn 1. The lights are off on top of the base car. 12 laps are complete. It's going to be 13 when we go back racing this time around. Looks like everybody's back out here on the racetrack, which means quite well. We already was snugging down with about a 14 car field, and the more cars that we lose, it's not going to be as much hard racing, and the more content that we can produce for you folks here live on TikTok. Make sure you head on over to the YouTube page to watch all the replays, especially if you want to hang out here for just a little bit. Head on over to your mom's house, your girlfriend's house, head downstairs to the pantry, wherever you want to go. Find yourself down there. Go do that. You can go head on over to the YouTube page at tonight when you're sitting in bed eating your ice cream, crying. And you can watch all of the Booty Scoot Racing channel there and recap the Season 2 for the Next Gen Cup Series race here. Looks like John Michael Bryant, your mom's favorite driver, is going to be on the front row here with James Fountain. James Fountain racing for the championship here tonight. This number 24 machine been out front here for about 3 or 4 laps. Every lap led is 1 point added to your total score. So Jonathan Smith will round out the second row with Chase Johnson right on the outside of him in this Blue Ocean Lakes number 51. So all 3 championship drivers are up here in the top 4. Green flags back in the air. Here's John Michael Bryant. Slams back down on the gas. We're back racing in Chicagoland. Back up in a racing here at Chicagoland. The green flag is back in the air. And John Michael Bryant, your mom's favorite driver, out front. But James Fountain sends it up high on the top side. He'll get the momentum run. Can he clear himself across the front nose of the Toyota Camry? He will. James Fountain back out front here at the Chicagoland Speedway. And James Fountain, ladies and gentlemen, finding his way to the front here in the championship race, knowing that every lap led is 1 point added to your total score. John Michael Bryant having none of it. He'll look back down on the bottom side of the 24. They'll bank doors down the back straightaway. James Fountain must not be happy that John Michael Bryant made a move on him instead of pushing him. James Fountain scrapes the outside safer barrier there. And here comes Chase Johnson. He's got his teammate of Corey Tessner pushing all over the back end of that number 51 Camaro. So 2 of these Chase Johnson racing cars teaming up here trying to get to the front of the pack. But it's the boogeyman holding on to the race lead off of turn 2. Bryant, Fountain, Smith, Johnson, Tessner, Hughes round out the top 6 drivers here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Ty Robertson trying to put a consistent race here tonight. Kevin Tanko's on the outside, but here comes Tony Cook, the hard-charging veteran, down on the bottom side of the racetrack. He's trying to make something shake here. They'll climb the banking into turns 1 and 2. Door to door for the race lead. James Fountain, John Michael Bryant going at it here in Chicagoland. James Fountain gets the left rear quarter panel. John Michael has to take the top side. Fountain on the bottom side. John Michael holding his line quite well. James Fountain to throw the slide job left and back right goes the boogeyman, but that'll kill his momentum. James Fountain's going to be able to clear himself for the race lead through the dog leg. These two guys are absolutely going at it here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel, and I have no utterly idea why. We apologize for the popping sound, ladies and gentlemen. We'll try to fix up a little bit of this stuff. We'll throw you down on the racetrack for tonight's first Madness Racing League, Fast and Loud. We're back racing here in Chicagoland. We're back from the Fast and Loud. We appreciate you guys for liking it up there, ladies and gentlemen. Things were getting a little bit dicey there underneath the Fast and Loud. Corey Tesner has sacrificed his way up here through the field, up 9 spots from where he started. If you remember what we said, Corey Tesner said he should be here right now racing for this championship. He felt like he was one of the faster cars all season long, but he got suspended out of the race league for a month, and it cost him a shot at the playoffs. John Michael Bryant, though, loses the race lead to James Fountain, who's clicked out to about a 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 car length lead over John Michael Bryant, and the Boogeyman gets a little bit loose off the exit of turns 3 and 4. Jonathan Smith shutting it 3 wide down on the bottom side. Tesner in the middle, Smith on the bottom, Bryant up top, 3 wide in Chicagoland. Heading through the banking of turns 1 and 2, Tesner gets a tad bit loose. He'll move down the bottom side, back up to the top. He'll hook the left rear quarter panel of John Michael Bryant, and the caution flag flies. No! Jonathan Smith, the championship 4 involved. Several guys involved in the wreck here. Ty Robertson tore up. Terry Hughes Jr. tore up. Nicholas Maynard gets through it. John Smith, the championship contender, involved. Bobby Kyle gets through it. John Michael Bryant involved. Terry Hughes Jr. gets the most damage, it looks like right here. We'll back that ass up. Corey Tesner tore up here on the front straightaway. It looks like it came off maybe the front nose of this number 5 HendrickCars.com Flow Racing Camaro. We'll back that ass up here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel and take a look and see what happens. Just talking about Corey Tesner being aggressive and how it led him out of the league. Hopefully he has not made a disaster move here and caused this wreck. Ladies and gentlemen, contacts made down in the exit, off the exit of turn 2, excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, it was one hell of a move from Jonathan Smith on the bottom to plug the hole. They were running 3 wide all the way through the corner quite well. It's like Corey Tesner just comes up the racetrack. There was almost a half a car length lead, excuse me, in front of, damn, a huge shot right there for Corey Tesner. Jonathan Smith, John Michael Bryant go backwards. We'll back it up one more time. We'll pull it up from the far chase cam. And maybe we can't see. We got a drone cam actually here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. It's not sure how much it's going to show us what the absolute living hell just took place. But ladies and gentlemen, the blimp cam didn't give us quite what we were looking for. We'll throw it up to the far chase cam here and see what took place. John Michael Bryant on the outside. Looks like Corey Tesner has about a half a 2 car length lead lane below him, but he keeps snagging up a little bit on the top side of the racetrack. It'll snag and collect about 3 or 4 of these race cars. So a major pile up here off the exit of turns 3 and 4. Jonathan Smith not happy with the field there after the way he was just raced. Being spun around the championship 4 contender, all kinds of tore up here. Corey Tesner from the hard charger to the garage tore up in this HendrickCars.com number 5. He'll pull it off the racetrack down into the garage. John Michael Bryant radios over to his crew chief. What the hell is going on with that guy? Toyota Camry is absolutely destroyed. Holding my line on the outside. We'll be back in just a moment. Tons of guys pissed off here in Chicagoland. Championship 4 contender involved in Jonathan Smith. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay right here. Bang! We're back here on the Madness Racing League's Next Gen Cup Series Season 2 Championship race live here from the Chicagoland Speedway. Looks like we had several drivers bring it down onto pit road, trying to change up the strategy. Ty Robertson got involved in the accident right there, as well as Jonathan Smith. John Michael Bryant involved in the accident. It looks like Bobby Kyle will win the battle off pit road. It was 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a can of Sunoco Racing fuel for the veteran of Bobby Kyle. Tony Cook right behind him. The old-timer, been sim racing longer than you've been alive. Tony Cook said the race car was just a tad bit free there. If you guys can tighten it up just a snug, we'll be able to make some track position here. 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a can of Sunoco Racing fuel for Tony Cook. Jonathan Smith comes down on the pit road, absolutely infuriating inside of that race car, boiling over the helmet in the radio. The crew chief has to remind Jonathan Smith, take a break, it is not over. 25 laps complete here, 100 laps still to go here in tonight's championship race. You are not out of it. We'll work on the race car. We just need you to remain calm. Ty Robertson still stuck down here on pit road with Jonathan Smith, Kevin Tankos, and Terry Hughes Jr. Corey Tessner has climbed out of that race car, and he has refused an interview here with the Madness Racing League. That is okay, but James Fountain is going to be the race leader with Chase Johnson on the outside. Travo Wall will round out the 3rd place spot. Nicholas Maynard in his 0-2 Cooper Standard 4 Mustang will move up to the 4th place spot, and Travo Wall will have 2 blue ovals rounding out this 2nd row behind the bow ties. Tony Cook on the outside here on 4 fresh Goodyear tires and some Sunoco Racing fuel. Bobby Kyle on the same strategy as the old-timer and Tony Cook. So we'll see how these 2 veteran guys up in age, how they move up through the field here. Jonathan Smith back out on the racetrack here. They'll give him his in. When he went down there on the pit road, he'll pop it in here. The Engine 4 Coffee Company is going to have to try to work his way back up through the front of the field here. Ty Robertson up and off of pit road. He'll work his way back to kiss the back half of the field with Jonathan Michael Bryant. The boogeyman not happy there after being turned around by Corey Riptide Tester. He says it's every damn week with that kid. Well, maybe I have to stick around here, see if any kind of tempers flare at the end of tonight's event. Green flag is getting ready to fly back in the air here for the Season 2 Championship live here in Chicagoland. Ladies and gentlemen, this racetrack, memories all over it. Tons of great races put on over here over the years. We'll have all the great stories for you here in just a moment. Green flag's back in the air here in Chicagoland. James Fountain gets a great launch back there, and James Fountain will pull right in front of Chase Johnson, his racing team owner there. These guys competing for the championship here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. So Chase Johnson Racing has a 50% chance at winning the Season 2 championship race here tonight. Doesn't matter which driver, as long as it comes back to the CJR camp back home in Greer, South Carolina. Both of these CJR cars out front here. They'll get a great launch over the 0-2 of Nicholas Maynard, who's trying to work around him back here in this 0-2 Cooper Standard Ford Mustang. What do the Blue Ovals have in store? Nicholas Maynard said he would be so happy when the season is over with after tonight in this next-gen Mustang. He said he is sick and tired of the next-gen race cars. He can't wait to fire up the Gen 6 cars and get them back out here on the racetrack. Nicholas Maynard elects to take the top side of the racetrack here from 3 and 4, and he's got a hard charge, and Tony Cook on 4 fresh tires all over the back bumper. Ladies and gentlemen, green flag back in the air here. Chicagoland strategies are all over the place, and that's why you got a guy like me up here in the booth giving you all the great stories, Nicholas Maynard, Travo Wall come down on the first caution flag that flew down on lap 10. And it looks like Nicholas Maynard will get out of the way, let these guys race on these 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Some great racing going on here 30 laps into tonight's event. Jonathan Smith, Travo Wall, Tony Cook, move up to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place spot here. Nicholas Maynard will fall back in line behind the number 7. Here comes Ty Robertson down on the bottom side. Each and every single one of these guys got 4 fresh Goodyear tires. How will they make something shake? Nicholas Maynard on the top side, Travo Wall in front of them. These 2 Ford Mustangs came into pit on lap 10. For no tires and only Sunoco Racing fuel. So if you're guys like the race leader in James Fountain or Chase Johnson or Jonathan Smith, already pitted. If you're guys like James Fountain and Chase Johnson, you have yet to come down on the pit road. You have yet to add any kind of extra fuel to that race car, any kind of good rubber added to it as well. Make any kind of adjustments, more like to the guys right behind you. So what kind of strategy is James Fountain and Chase Johnson, these 2 CJR cars on here tonight at the Chicagoland Speedway? We'll have to figure it out as the night run continues to go. If we could ever pick off some green flag lap racing here and see what the hell could happen through the pit strategy call, it would be one hell of a show. Ty Robertson back 5 spots from where he started from Coleman, Alabama. He's on the bottom side, and Travo Wall is writing him a check for his money. Travo Wall ripping the top side of the racetrack and riding out the front nose of the champion set. Ladies and gentlemen, Terry Hughes Jr. has climbed up above the crew chief box for his teammate of Jonathan Smith. He'll climb out of that race car, and both of the Hughes boys are out of the race here tonight. Trent Hughes refused to comment here to the Madness Racing League reporter. He said he has no more time for this bullshit, and he'll close the hauler door on us. Meanwhile, Terry Hughes Jr. doing big things here, hopping up on the pit box here to try to take over for the number 13 of Jonathan Smith. Meanwhile, though, guys like Kevin Tango stuck down there on pit road trying to get some damage fixed inside of that number 4 Outback Steakhouse machine for Rush Motorsports. Meanwhile, Bobby Kyle, Travo Wall going at it back here for the 6th place spot. Travo Wall, bad fast here recently in the Madness Racing League. And Travo Wall, if you have been a fan for a long time, he's an OG. He's been here since day 1, since the day we started throwing the green flag here in the Madness Racing League for the Booty Scoot Racing channel. The champion number 7, and we have seen grow and grow and grow season after season after season. You're seeing it happening right now. Him and Bobby Kyle go at it for the 6th place spot. Nicholas Maynard looking to put a nose in there as well. He's all over the back bumper of Travo Wall, climbing the banking through turns 1 and 2. Guys like Bobby Kyle, the 777 Nap Daddy Racing Toyota Camry from Honorsville, Georgia. Bobby Kyle, 63 years old, out here giving it to these folks, these young bucks out here on the racetrack. Bobby Kyle, just a family man. That's all he ever says. He's up 8 spots right now, currently running in the hard charger position. If you didn't know, the Madness Racing League, each race winner receives a custom-made wooden trophy plaque that is etched and laser engraved, fully customized by Bobby Kyle, a driver here in the league. So Bobby Kyle, not only out here on the racetrack racing with these guys, being a great race car driver and a great opponent out here being safe and clean, he's also putting in an effort here in the Madness Racing League. No way is he an owner or any type. Bobby Kyle, just a stand-up dude, wanting to see everybody have fun here in the Racing League as we close up Season 2 here tonight at Chicagoland. John Michael Bryan in this number 23 Toyota Camry involved in the accident there out front leading the race. Earlier on tonight, we talked to the boogeyman in the garage before we rolled his car out to the grid. He was signing some autograph with some fans. We were able to poke our head in there and get a word with the boogeyman of John Michael Bryan. John Michael Bryan told us in qualifying this was the best race car he's felt all season long. As they finally started to hit on the program, he gets a little bit tight there. John Michael Bryan says the wheel's about 14 degrees to the left right now, so he's trying to find a balance point here to load into the banking. This number Toyota 23 is not out of it yet. They told John Michael Bryan to stay in it, and hopefully we can pray for another caution flag here, get us back into the battle here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel with John Michael Bryant. Not much of a patient man when it comes to holding on to the race car. Meanwhile, James Fountain checking out with the race lead here down the back straightaway, running away from Jonathan Smith. We'll update it right here on the championship. 4 guys competing for it here tonight for the Season 2 champion. James Fountain picked up a win in the regular season to find his way into the playoffs. James Fountain absolutely dominated the playoffs when it comes to leading laps and scoring points. Plain and simple, James Fountain led so many laps during the playoff stint that we had, a three playoff format. The final race here tonight at Chicagoland, 10 guys made the playoffs. We eliminated 6 after the 3rd playoff race to the final 4 drivers. Those are the final 4 you see racing for here tonight in Chicagoland. James Fountain, with every lap led being 1 point added to your total score. He'll come across the line this time and add another one to score here tonight for the championship race. But he did that so many times during the playoff stint. He was able to lock himself into the championship on pure points. If you see the top side of that race car there, can't really get a great look at it. See, we can't get a drone cam to go down there on the back half of the race car. The MRL Final 4 logo banner on top of James Fountain's car here tonight, indicating he is racing for the championship here tonight. Behind him, Jonathan Smith racing for it as well. He's got the championship 4 banner on the side of his race car instead of on the top. You see it on the bottom left underneath the premier setups for the Next Gen Cup Series. Jonathan Smith had one hell of a season here in his Engine Ford Coffee. We like to consider Jonathan Smith, one of the better long-run drivers here in the Next Gen Cup Series, in the Madness Racing League, I shall say. Jonathan Smith was able to steal one at the North Wilkesboro Speedway there in overtime after calamity there in the closing lap. Jonathan Smith said he'll take that one and add it to the book, to the record book, and throw that trophy on the shelf when he gets it. Jonathan Smith kicked off the season at Atlanta Motor Speedway, absolutely got annihilated in the heat race. He was not happy and was not looking forward to the rest of the season. They had to calm Jonathan Smith down, bring him back down to reality, give him another sin, and light another cigarette for Jonathan Smith and his number 13 Engine Ford Coffee Company machine. And Jonathan Smith really regathered. They had an outstanding race in Nashville, led a ton of laps, but he just didn't get the victory that night. But he found victory lane several more times as he almost, ladies and gentlemen, gave up the win at the Phoenix International Raceway. He stole that one from the rest of the guys. Meanwhile, don't want to forget and shake and talk about Tony Cook in this number 33 Coors Light Silver Bullet Camaro. Tony Cook has shot out of a gun, no pun intended, here tonight at Chicagoland. I see why, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just kind of tracked back and remember from past stories that I've told here in the Madness Racing League, doing my reporting and my homework before we take the green flag. Tony Cook told me about a month ago that these cookie cutter race track, these 1.5 miles, is really where this Home Run Cafe Chevy team was built off of. That's where they really cut their teeth and grinded. Tony Cook said he really has a knack and feel for these cookie cutter racetracks. We're here at one here tonight, kind of really based oval and wide, but you see it coming into effect right now. This hard charging award has been jumping back and forth between drivers all night long. Currently being held right now by the 777 of Bobby Kyle as he climbs the banking through turns 1 and 2 to head down the back straightaway. He's up 8 spots. Tony Cook up 7 spots. Ty Robertson, Chase Johnson battle it down here into turns 3 and 4. Big caution pile up back there on like lap 25, 26 or something like that. Took out multiple drivers, guys like Terry Hughes Jr., Corey Tesner, Trent Hughes, and Holden Wheeler wasn't able to make it out to the racetrack here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Holden Wheeler was battling out here tonight for the championship Ford on the Booty Scoot Racing channel, but electrical problems for him in that number 15 Ford Mustang. Holden Wheeler not able to get out onto the racetrack here tonight to compete for the championship. Holden Wheeler not happy with the way that things have shaken out here tonight at Chicagoland. He won't even get a chance to fight at the championship here tonight. Meanwhile, it has been all business so far for James Fountain in this number 24 Chevy Camaro from Greenville, South Carolina. Jonathan Smith is right behind him. Jonathan Smith, though, known to save a little bit of tire on the long run. Is that what he's doing right now? And letting James Fountain just run away with it, eat up some Goodyear rubber. He's knocked the lead back down to about a second. Tony Cook's finally getting a little bit of trouble now here from Ty Robertson from Coleman, Alabama. Cook on the top side. Robertson follows in right behind him. Some respectful racing going on here. Ladies and gentlemen, Ty Robertson comes in part-time into the Cup Series, not knowing his place, how to find his place quick and early. His place was victory lane. Ladies and gentlemen, Ty Robertson already has one Next Gen Cup Series win to his name. They didn't allot or stats or keep the point for Ty Robertson because he joined in a little bit too late, but Ty Robertson definitely won't slip my mind here from being a winner in the Madness Racing League. Tony Cook has got some trouble right behind. Laps are complete, 10 laps away, well, 15 laps away, excuse me, from the halfway point. Ladies and gentlemen, these guys are knocking on the door to green flag pit stops if you haven't went yet. Ladies and gentlemen, guys like James Fountain, Chase Johnson, and these guys have yet to come down on the pit road and service the race cars, and oh my, here comes James Fountain. Give me that bonus point for calling that one right there. James Fountain, Chase Johnson at the same time. Bringing down on the pit road. James Fountain says this race car is absolutely perfect. Do not touch it. It's a little bit snug through turns 3 and 4, but the air pressure really builds its well over the bumps. James Fountain looking for a half round out of the back half of the race car, 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a can of Sunoco Racing fuel. Chase Johnson says he wants 2 cans of Sunoco Racing fuel, 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and a tight adjustment on the Ocean Lakes number 51. Here comes the 777 of Bobby Kyle, who'll pull into his pit box. He's asking for a left rear adjustment of air pressure, and it'll be 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a can of Sunoco Racing fuel for 777 of Bobby Kyle. James Fountain and them drop the jack. He's on and off the pit road. So is Chase Johnson. So is Bobby Kyle. Here comes Jonathan Smith down the back straightaway. He's already put him a lap down. 52 laps are complete here, and the cycle is on our way here for the green flag pit stop, and we'll have them all right here for you. Tony Cook battles door to door here with Ty Robertson. Nicholas Maynard moves up to the 4th place spot here. Who's going to be next to call it quits here for the pit stops? Tony Cook, Ty Robertson can't separate from each other into one. Jonathan Smith now takes control of the race here at Chicagoland. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Smith's crew chief up on the box has having some help from Terry Hughes Jr. What kind of help can that bring a team like Rush Motorsports? Terry Hughes Jr. involved in the accident back on lap 25 and pulled out of the race car. He is done for the night. Terry Hughes Jr. able to give some information possibly to these guys out there on the booty, to his driver, and the crew chief of his teammate of Jonathan Smith, kind of give him a direction on where the racetrack was starting to go. We started the practice session underneath the sun, and then we switched on over into the nighttime session. As the night is brewed and the sun has went down, the racetrack has became a little bit colder, really starting to take a little bit of rubber here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. It's going to be Smith off the exit of turn 2 and deaded down the back straightaway. Entry into turns 3 and 4, followed by Ty Robertson, Tony Cook, Nicholas Maynard, Trevor Wall, and it looks like John Michael Bryant's trying to make his way back into the battle here after staying out there underneath the green flag. But guys like James Fountain and Chase Johnson have worked their way up through this traffic. James Fountain trying to get back up there, run down the race leader of Jonathan Smith. Trent Hughes is on the box and the spotter for the number 9 as well. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. So Ty Robertson getting a little bit of help. He's got a brand new voice in his ear, looking at this beautiful shot here from Billy the Blimp driver in this beautiful race car of Ty Robertson. Ty Robertson said, hello, who is that? That is a brand new voice coming through the helmet. It's the number 18 of Trent Hughes. He is pulled up to the spotter stand to go up there and spot for Ty Robertson in this number 9 Chevy Camaro. Drivers helping drivers here in the Madness Racing League, trying to get something done here. Finally picking off some green flag laps. The green flag pit stop cycle, has already been started. It's already in effect. James Fountain brought him down to begin. Chase Johnson trying to chase down James Fountain right now. Travo Wall on the lead lap, on the pit cycle with the rest of the crew. The number 7 riding around on the top 5 spot right now. Tony Cook continuing to put down some of the fastest laps on the racetrack right now, but the fastest on the racetrack that last time around goes to the number 13 race leader, Jonathan Smith. Clean air seems to be the key here right now for the number 13, Jonathan Smith, involved in that accident back on lap 25. And you remember, folks, we had to tell you the crew chief had to calm Jonathan Smith down. He is absolutely pissed off earlier after getting turned around. Jonathan Smith came down on the pit road when they got that damage fixed. Remember, he asked for a little bit of a adjustment from being snug, and he said if they wanted a chance to compete here tonight. Ty Robertson brought it down on the pit road, says I'm not sure what I need to be able to keep up with the number 13 of Jonathan, but let me tell you something, we have a bad fast race car here tonight, boys. Ty Robertson has got about we'll check the lap time. He actually ran a faster lap than Jonathan Smith that previous time around right there. Ty Robertson a 30.43, Jonathan Smith a 30.50. However, guys like James Fountain, Chase Johnson on these brand new Goodyear rubber running 30.2s, 30.0s, just not fast enough. Don't look like there's quite enough tire fall off as these guys were expecting. We're about 5/10 difference between guys like Jonathan Smith, John Michael Bryant, who is yet to come down and pit on the pit road. He's got a little bit of damage, and he's only running about 8/10 off guys like Chase Johnson and James Fountain. So, ladies and gentlemen, how will the track temperature and the ambient of the race car continue to affect the race cars here tonight? Travo Wall brings it back down on the pit road. He says something is not feeling right. I have a vibration, possibly a loose wheel. Travo Wall will bring it down here. They'll take 4 fresh Goodyear tires, a can of Sunoco Racing fuel. He'll be on and off of pit road. Jonathan Smith climbs the banking. Ty Robinson slowly closing over the back bumper. Tony Cook rising in the banking through turns 1 and 2. Nicholas Maynard trying to make something shake here. He's in the 7th place spot. He's already brought it down on the pit road and serviced that that race car. He'll take 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a can of Sunoco Racing fuel. Nicholas Maynard back out on the racetrack. He says the car felt excellent right there. We moved up to the 4th place spot. Not sure what I need here. Nicholas Maynard says it's not the driver, it's the car. Here comes the boogeyman, and John Michael Bryant will slide into his box. It's going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a can of Sunoco Racing fuel for the boogeyman of John Michael Bryant. Still working on about a minute of 10 seconds left in damage on that Gorilla Mind Toyota Camry. They want to replace the steering column in it real quick, but John Michael Bryant will head off anyway off the jack. James Fountain brought and started his green flag pit cycle run. Jonathan Smith trying to make his way out here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. John Michael Bryant up and off the pit road. Whoa, John Michael Bryant gets loose. He goes around. Caution flag fly. No. John Michael Bryant. No. John Michael Bryant loose off a pit road and the caution flag is thrown for that? Are you serious? Holy hell, what makes you think I can't be a fan? I apologize to the admins for having me saying that, but John Michael Bryant loose off a pit road, triggers the caution flag here on the Madness Racing League in the middle of the pit cycle for the championship race. What in the ever-living hell is going on here on the iRacing platform? The number 23 of John Michael Bryant, you see him working his way off a pit road, heading through the access zone, just gets a little bit loose, goes around. He's nowhere even on the racetrack, throwing up dust, and the caution flag is thrown. Absolutely insanity here at the Chicagoland Speedway. We'll back that ass up for the instant replay one more time and take a look at the boogeyman of John Michael Bryant. How unfortunate for some of these guys out here on the racetrack and having their pit strategy absolutely smothered here after this caution flag here from the Madness Racing League. I'm not happy with the Madness Racing League or iRacing. Whoever threw that caution, I'm not happy. These are the kind of things that destroy the league and have social media talking for weeks. John Michael Bryant comes off the pit road through the pit cycle and already having damage, throwing debris all over the racetrack. Causes the caution flag to be triggered. Not sure why. He maybe had two wheels on the racetrack heading off the safety violation. John Michael Bryant will receive a black flag for an unsafe pit exit. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll head back to the commercial break. Jonathan Smith screaming inside of that race car. Hell yeah, boys. We'll be able to bite the dust right there. That'll leave a ton of these guys a lap down trap. Jonathan Smith will stay out on the racetrack here and go service his race car and be able to get his track position right back. Ty Robertson, Tony Cook round out the top three spots. Those were the only three guys yet to go pit. We'll be back in just a moment.
Can you feel my heartbeat beating? I can't live without you anymore. I can't deny it, can't deny it, can't deny it. I'm still trying. I can't breathe without you anymore. Now that we walk through the fire, we're burning still side by side, side by side, side by side.
Welcome back here on the Booty Scoot Racing Channel. Busy pit road underneath the caution flag here for the second time in the championship race. Jonathan Smith, your former race leader, slides down to his pole position box. He's asking for 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a can of Sunoco Racing fuel. Do not touch the race car when it comes to adjustments. So is Ty Robertson, the guy on the pole here tonight. Chase Johnson looks like he'll take Sunoco Racing fuel only in 2 tires for some track position here on the Booty Scoot Racing Channel. Here comes Tony Cook up and off of pit road, as well as Jonathan Smith and Ty Robertson. Kevin Tanko's back out here in action on the Booty Scoot Racing Channel for the first time since being caused in the caution earlier tonight. Jonathan Smith, though, ladies and gentlemen, stayed out underneath the caution. Stayed out underneath the green flag cycle. We just needed it more laps. We would have seen what had happened, but Jonathan Smith will catch a break there as he'll be able to come back around and sail right behind Peter the pace car as the guys in front of him, are scheduled to take the wave around. So Chase Johnson, is being registered he is on the lead lap. Okay, I just want to make sure that I am reading this right because I have it on my ticker here that everybody in front of the 13 of Jonathan Smith will be taking the wave around, but you cannot pit if you take the wave around. So we will take a look and see exactly what the hell takes place here. It looks like Nicholas Maynard, Travel Wall, and the rest of these boys will head off in front of Peter the pace car to go catch behind. And not very sure about that one right there, ladies and gentlemen. I've never seen somebody be able to go pit and take the wave around at the same time. Jonathan Smith will be the race leader. Ty Robertson will be on the outside front rows. The rest of the guys will catch the back half of the field. Tony Cook having an excellent day here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing Channel. James Fountain will get the 4th place spot. He'll be the one raving around here on the Booty Scoot Racing Channel. Jonathan Smith, though, trying to make his way to the championship podium with that championship and take it back to Goldsboro, North Carolina. He's racing to 24 when it comes to points as of right now. I am hearing, let me do my calculations and pull this up over here on the left side as the back of the field catches Peter the pace car. So as I have it right now, 32 points scored for Jonathan Smith on laps led. 31 for James Fountain, So James Fountain will have to get out front here and get back around Jonathan Smith if he wants a chance to get back into the race lead here for the playoffs in the championship race. Green flags back in the air here for Jonathan Smith at the Chicagoland Speedway as we climb the banking into turns 1 and 2. Heading off the exit of turn 2, Smith, Robinson, Cook, Fountain, the top guys here heading down the back straightaway. Fountain looking 3 wide, Cook up the middle, Tanko shuffled on the outside. Who's going to pick the better choice here? Tony Cook getting tied up the racetrack. James Fountain throws the move in the middle. Who plugged the hole between Ty Robertson and Tony Cook. Go back down to the bottom side of the racetrack. Can he get the left rear quarter panel of Ty Robertson? He can't into turn one. I'll have to ship it down in there. This leaves Jonathan Smith looking out the ass end. You're looking at the rear view mirror cam of Jonathan Smith. You see exactly what he sees heading into turn 3 here in Chicagoland. These guys not sparing each other an inch here tonight in Chicagoland, the home of the Windy City. Windy City, there's going to be windy fisticuffs here the way these guys are beating and banging. Ty Robertson down on the bottom side of the racetrack. It's got a brand new crew chief up on the box. And Trent Hughes, after Trent Hughes trying to help his teammate get to the front of the pack here, he'll take over the calling duties for the number 9, but Tony Cook battling back here. He'll take the position 3 wide over Kevin Tankos and Ty Robertson. Chase Johnson looking to enter the party, but here comes Travo Wall. Travo Wall rested a lap down, but he doesn't give a damn. Working his way up through the back straightaway, trying to cut through the traffic. Travo Wall propels her. South Carolina has been absolutely improving each and every single week that he's back out here on the racetrack. Whenever he's able to finally complete the full races, and they don't absolutely obliterate Travo Wall week in and week out, he says he feels like he has a chance each and every single week to go fight for a chance to win the race. Boys on the box are putting in work here for Rush Motorsports. They have hired on brand new engineering crew, and it has showed out all year long for Jonathan Smith. Almost had to win at Nashville, led over 80-something laps of a 100-lap scheduled race. Jonathan Smith had it stolen from him there after about a 75-lap green flag run in Nashville that night in the overtime. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Smith come back down to reality, scored another victory at the North Wilkesboro Speedway, followed by another one at Phoenix. Jonathan Smith looking to win the championship race here tonight. He's already taken over the point standing lead over James Fountain with the most laps led. Every lap led is 1 point added to your total score. If you've never seen a Madness Racing League championship or racing event before, if you didn't know, Biggie Small style, you know now. James Fountain back out on the racetrack in the second place spot. He's up 2 spots from that last previous restart. Tony Cook up 7 spots from where he started the beginning of the race. Tony Cook has not left his P3 spot in the last 42 laps. That is tonight's fun fact of the race. Travo Wall, Ty Robertson, Nicholas Maynard, John Michael Bryant battle it out here in Chicagoland. John Michael Bryant, Travo Wall, both of these guys being registered a lap down here, racing with the front half lead pack. So John Michael Bryant not going to cut anybody any kind of breaks here tonight. And either is Travo Wall. They got one of the championship contenders. And Chase Johnson smiled up in a little pile right here. Chase Johnson either has to take the bottom lane, take the top lane, follow the draft, weave and bobble his way through these 2 guys. And they're not even playoff drivers, a Camry and a Ford Mustang. So Chase Johnson right now, the furthest one back out of the championship for contenders when it comes to points scored and or being up front in the front half of the race. James Fountain in the second place spot. Jonathan Smith throws it out into the banking of 3 and 4. Would only have to imagine Jonathan Smith, after having that caution flag there in the driver's seat right now, with no pun intended. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, 2 cans of Sunoco racing fuel, a brand new race car ready to go racing for a whole nother run. Tony Cook's getting challenged down on the bottom side by the lap car of Kevin Tankos. Ladies and gentlemen, Terry Hughes Jr. hopping on the box for the number 4 for a brief moment when they brought it down on the pit road. Terry Hughes Jr., crew chiefing after being involved in the accident, says that they needed to replace the toe link. Terry Hughes Jr. threw a helmet on and gloves, went down there and replaced the right front toe link on the number 4 of Kevin Tankos. Kevin Tankos, says this thing drives like an absolute brand new race car. If only we wouldn't have been involved in the accident, we'd have a chance in fighting for the victory right now. Beautiful racing here at Chicagoland underneath the lights. God has created one of his best creations right here in Joliet, Illinois at the Chicagoland Speedway. You don't see many races underneath the lights here, especially in the past in the real NASCAR world. And if you didn't hear, ladies and gentlemen, the NASCAR Next Gen Cup Series in real life coming back to the Chicagoland Speedway this upcoming season, and it will be a night race. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want a sneak peek at what that might look like in the future, you're looking at it right here from the Madness Racing League. But we got a lot more chaos, a lot more drivers, a lot of beating and banging. 80 laps are in the book here for the Season 2 Championship race out of the scheduled 125. 45 laps to go on the Booty Scoot Racing channel, and it's anybody's ball game. Jonathan Smith holds on to the race lead. James Fountain right behind him. Jonathan Smith absolutely taking control here of the point system. Every lap led being 1 point added to your total score. Jonathan Smith up and over 47 laps led and 47 laps of points added to his total score. Jonathan Smith working off the exit of turn 2, headed down the back straightaway, totally in control of the championship. Just looking for a chance to strike and finish here tonight in Chicagoland. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll get you down on the racetrack here one more time as we got green flag pit stops slowly but surely approaching right around the corner one more time. We'll get you down here on the racetrack for tonight's Madness Racing League's Fast and Live. Ladies and gentlemen, 85 laps are complete this time around, and I'm not the greatest at math, but I can do pretty much basic simple math, and that's 40 laps remaining here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. And you're probably telling yourself he's added all those extra words so he could count it up in his head, and I sure damn did. Nicholas Maynard down on the bottom side of Travo Wall. Two former rock and roll racing teammates here battling door to door, side by side in these two blue ovals. Ladies and gentlemen, Ford has just not brought the short run package here tonight inside of these four blue ovals. Nicholas Maynard was complaining underneath the previous caution flag about the tire wear on the race car. He said it felt great and we had a lot more rubber compared to everybody else, but we are lacking downforce and speed inside of these blue ovals. John Michael Bryant, one of the sole Toyota Camry still out on the racetrack, involved in the accident back on lap 25. John Michael Bryant said this Toyota Camry was the thing to beat tonight. He's not sure about it anymore. He's strapped the lap down, hoping and praying for a caution flag here any minute, and John Michael Bryant can come down on the pit road and they can continue to work on this Gorilla Mine machine. But John Michael Bryant not holding up any kind of hope here tonight. He's racing in front of Nicholas Maynard, who's on the lead lap. So just showing you what these lap cars will do. Travo Wall, a lap car. He's racing Nicholas Maynard like his life absolutely depends on it here. Travo Wall, we're to the top side of the racetrack, and Nicholas Maynard will shut the air off to the kid of the 02 Cooper Standard Ford Mustang. Travo Wall probably not happy that Nicholas Maynard and him split away from the rock and roll racing partnership, and these two Ford Blue Ovals wait to the final race here tonight to settle their differences here on the teammate discussion. And Jonathan Smith heads down into turns 3 and 4 with a absolute huge lead over James Fountain. But James Fountain trying to bring home and reel in the 13 machine of Jonathan Smith heading across the front straightaway. The crowd is absolutely ripping and roaring. Finally back picking up some green flag laps here on the Booty 2 Racing channel. Riding on board with Tony Cook, the owner of the Home Run Cafe in Greer, South Carolina. Tony Cook, we talked about it, the Cookie Cutter Racetrack is where this program strives the best. Tony Cook absolutely moving and grooving up through the field right now in this Coors Light Silver Bullet, number 33 Chevy Camaro. Tony Cook says, guys, we're going to take 4 fresh Goodyear tires and 1 can of Sunoco Racing fuel. I'm going to try to stretch it out as long as possible so we can try to have a shorter pit stop and jump a couple spots here through the pit cycle. Guys like James Fountain are saying, James, we're going to need you to bring it on home slowly. We're going to try something different here. We're going to come early. We're going to throw 4 tires on, really loosen you up on that number 24 and pack it full of Sunoco Racing fuel. We're going to add a little bit more weight to the back with extra fuel, hopefully, and try to get you a little bit more grip out the ass end of the race car so you can try to work your way up through the pack, Right now it's about a 1.3 second difference between him and the race leader of Jonathan Smith. John Smith running for the championship here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. James Fountain in the second place spot right behind him. Remember, folks, it's win and you are the champion and or outscore your opponents. However, Jonathan Smith has the points lead right now for the playoff Final 4 drivers, and James Fountain has a little bit of points added to the bank to add on to his final finishing position here tonight, and as well as any more bonus points that he may so have and underneath his belt here up to this point. Ladies and gentlemen, Ty Robertson, though, has told his crew chief sitting back here and relaxing the first half of the race here was definitely the right call. The Baja Mountain Dew, the Baja Blast, I had to do it. Mountain Dew Chevy Camaro of Ty Robertson heads off the banking of turns 1 and 2. Says the race car is absolutely lightning fast right now. It is showing on the ticker as he is about a 10th faster than the race leader in Jonathan Smith, who just exited off the exit of turn 4. Jonathan Business sees the pay window opening up in about 30 laps. That's what Terry Hughes Jr. will come over the radio and he will tell his driver in the number 13 Premier Setup Engine Coffee Company Chevy Camaro of Jonathan Smith. Terry Hughes Jr. on the box for Jonathan Smith here tonight for Rush Motorsports. Terry Hughes is calculating. He's telling John, go easy right now. Ride as much as you can. Here comes James Fountain. Blinking in and out, battling some internet connection issues. Because James Fountain be possibly battling some internet connection issues. That'll cost James Fountain some time. As who knows what he could possibly be dealing with inside of that race car. But Jonathan Smith being told by his crew chief, Terry Hughes Jr., to back it down about a quarter or so on the fuel. Jonathan Smith telling his crew chief, Terry Hughes Jr., just give me a number, a lap time number, or what time you want to bring it down. Terry Hughes Jr. says, keep going, I'll get back to you. He's tallying the numbers, but definitely going to do 4 fresh Goodyear tires on the number 13. James Fountain being told by his crew chief and his team back at the Chase Johnson Racing shop that are on the box for him tonight, telling him to absolutely push. You got to go now. We have an extra set of Goodyear sticker tires laying in the pits if we need them after throwing the next set on. James Fountain looking to push. He'll slap the outside wall. They're absolutely getting every bit of Goodyear rubber out of this number 24 Apex Grading Chevy Camaro. Ty Robertson on the top side of the racetrack from Coleman, Alabama. These Rush Motorsports Chevy Camaros have absolutely jumped out on a rocket here since the previous pit stop. Ladies and gentlemen, Ty Robertson complained of a little bit of a tight condition, but told his crew chief, Trent Hughes, who hopped up on the box that he had a shot if he would loosen up the race car for him a tight bit more than what he had. He really enjoyed the loose race car. If you remember the keys of the race here tonight, managing that turns 3 and 4 bump was going to be one of those big topics of tonight. Ty Robertson and Trent Hughes have done that excellent here tonight. 22 years old behind the wheel, 18 years old up on the box. Who knew that such a young combination of driver, crew chief can make such a difference here at the great racetrack here in Chicago? It'll be Smith, Fountain, Robertson, Cook, and looks like going to be Tanko's in front of Cook, though, the lap car. Tanko's still moving and grooving up through the field right now in this number 4 Outback Steakhouse Chevy Camaro from Hawthorne, New Jersey. Kevin Tanko's involved in an accident earlier that was no wrongdoing of his own fault. 25 laps to go this time around. They're telling Kevin Tanko's, we are sorry, buddy. We couldn't get you back out there faster. 14 laps down for the number 4 machine. He had all hands on deck from Rush Motorsport trying to make something shake. James Fountain brings it down on the pit road. He locks it up. No! There goes James Fountain. He backs it up right in front of Kevin Tanko's. That makes Tony Cook check up, and a black flag is in the air for Tony Cook speeding on pit road. James Fountain might have just seen his playoff hopes go up into smoke right there. Slowing down on the pit road, he will spin and have to put it into reverse. Tony Cook receiving a black flag for speeding on pit road, but he had to check up and go around the number 24, James Fountain. Tony Cook trying to protest right now to the Madness Racing League about this black flag. It's 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a can of Sunoco Racing fuel for that machine right there. James Fountain doing the same thing. Kevin Tanko's and Nicholas Maynard, 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a can of Sunoco Racing fuel. They're on and off of pit road. Kevin Tanko saying the race car was absolutely snug tight there, but we were moving through the field. Do not touch it. We're on the roll now. Nicholas Maynard and his Maynard Motors Cooper Standard 02 machine trying something different here. They're going to come at the 25 lap mark and absolutely go balls to the wall. James Fountain serving a black flag, speeding on pit road. Black flag for Tony Cook speeding on pit road, who had a checkup for James Fountain, who spun coming down on the pit road. This will end James Fountain's playoff hope here tonight in Chicagoland. Jonathan Smith, Ty Robertson battling it out here. James Fountain back off of pit road with Tony Cook. The 2 black flags have been lifted. Tony Cook gets big loose off the exit of pit road and down into the grass. Have to try to regather himself and get it back going. No! He'll slap down on the gas. He's battling, holding on to that race car. Tony Cook cutting the grass down the back straightaway. James Fountain big loose as well. James Fountain gets loose down off the bottom of the exit of turn 4. He brings it down on the pit road. Black flag in the air. Illegal pit road entries for James Fountain. But ladies and gentlemen, can we keep it green? Looks like James Fountain will get it off of the racetrack in time. Do we keep it green? Yes! We'll keep it green per the admin. Ty Robertson will bring it down on the pit road. And we're about possibly keeping it green here to accommodate for the green flag pit cycles here as Ty Robertson pulls into his pole position box. It's going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires, 1 can of Sunoco Racing fuel to get him to the end here. They're going to tighten the Mountain Dew blast. Go ahead and get your lap out now. Machine up and get him on and off of pit road. Ty Robertson said he'll come a lap earlier before Jonathan Smith as Terry Hughes Jr. brings down Jonathan Smith on the pit road from the race lead. They're going to do 4 fresh Goodyear tires, a can of Sunoco Racing fuel. Jonathan Smith will have the whole racetrack in distance to the second place spot of the guy in front of him. Chase Johnson will take the race lead though on these 4 fresh Goodyear, Chase Johnson on these old Goodyear tires. We will bring that pit strategy competition stop up to you, ladies and gentlemen, and have that information for you in just a moment. The Premier Setups number 13 of Jonathan Smith up and off of pit road right now in his number 13 Premier Setups machine. Ladies and gentlemen, Chase Johnson is taking the race lead through the green flag pit cycle. He is the only one currently on the lead lap right now. So if a caution flag were to fly, Chase Johnson would have another championship hope right there in the palm of his hands, as he would be the only guy on the lead lap and everybody else would have to go and take the wave around, Chase Johnson will be able to come right back down on the pit road and take that last final set of Goodyear rubber. Chase Johnson, John Michael Bryant, after being a lap down for majority of the cycle, he stayed out on the long run here. He is yet to pit. He was one of the drivers already registered a lap down. John Michael Bryant out on the racetrack right now, currently registered in the second place spot. If the caution flag were to fly right now, John Michael Bryant's whole night could be turned right back around, and it'll be all for good here. But Ty Robertson, John Smith, lurking over that back bumper of Chase Johnson, who's now going into turn one. You see him right there out the front end of the number 13 of Jonathan Smith. As soon as they get around Chase Johnson, I would have to imagine Chase Johnson being on those old Goodyear tires with the advantage right now. Chase Johnson, though, racing for that championship spot here tonight, leading these laps is every point added to his total score. So at best, Chase Johnson, if he could go all the way, I'm being told by the admin he can't. He's got to pit at some point. 17, going to be 16 to go this time around. Jonathan Smith trying to work over the back bumper of Ty Robertson here. This could possibly be for the race win here. Here comes the boogeyman down on the pit road. John Michael Bryant down on the pit road. He is complaining this thing is absolutely plowing tight. It is driving like a freaking tractor. John Michael Bryant will pull it down into his pit box. They'll do 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a can of Sunoco Racing fuel. That'll cost the boogeyman another lap here on the Madness Racing League tonight at Chicagoland. Just not having the championship race that he was looking for, even though he's not competing for it. Ladies and gentlemen, Travo Wall down on the pit road. He'll take that final set here. Travo Wall said, if they're going to supply us with 3 sets of tires in the pits, we are going to take all of them. Travo Wall, 4 fresh Goodyear tires, no Sunoco Racing fuel, and a little bit of adjustment. Travo Wall up and off of pit road. This will be the battle for the race lead. Chase Johnson calls it quit. He'll bring it down on the pit road. Ty Robertson, Jonathan Smith redeemed themselves. They'll unlap themselves this time around on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. And as Chase Johnson brings it down on the pit road at this agonizing 50 miles an hour, Chase Johnson asking for 2 tires here on the short run in his Ocean Lakes 51 machine, but the crew chief insisting on 4. We'll see how it plays out here. Chase Johnson being the only one on the lead lap coming down on the pit road. It'll be 4 fresh Goodyear tires possibly for the number 51 CJR Season 1 champion of Chase Johnson. No, he'll take the 2 fresh Goodyear tires and pull off from his crew team, trying to get back to the race lead. But no, he won't beat him out on the pit road. Jonathan Smith, Ty Robertson, too much momentum over the number 51 of the Ocean Lakes Camaro of Chase Johnson to make anything shake. Unless something happens here on the long run, Chase Johnson is going to have to go as they are slowly sailing away from him, climbing the banking out of turn 4. So that'll pull the former race leader right into the front bumper of Nicholas Maynard through the pit cycle. Nicholas Maynard, Chase Johnson now battling it out for the 3rd place spot here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. So a great pit call there for the number 02 of Nicholas Maynard. It'll give him something to fight for here on the long run. But it's going to be Ty Robertson over Jonathan Smith through the green flag pit stop cycle. And if you didn't pay attention when we kicked off the cycle, Ty Robertson in this number 9 Baja Mountain Dew machine come into pit road 1 lap earlier than Jonathan Smith did in that number 13 machine. Terry Hughes Jr., who drives the number 81 for Rush Motorsport, the same team as Jonathan Smith, will wreck out of tonight's event, head over to the pit box, climb on board and take the headset of the number 13 Premier Setups. He's calling the shots right now for Jonathan Smith. Jonathan Smith says he needs radio silence right now. 12 laps to go. The only thing they're calling out to Jonathan Smith over the radio right now is lap times and spotter calls. Jonathan Smith does not want to be bothered here. Ty Robertson says, I think we have enough Sunoco Racing fuel to make it to the end there. It was a splash and go with 4 fresh Goodyear tires for Ty Robertson. That was going to be the only way that he made up the 1.3 second difference between him and Jonathan Smith going down on the pit road. Meanwhile, Chase Johnson comes down about 5 laps after Nicholas Maynard comes down on the pit road and services his Cooper Standard Ford Mustang. The 02 machine's got about a 5-lap difference between him and Chase Johnson, and that's what you see right here on the racetrack. It's Chase Johnson slowly emerging, catching Kevin Tankos, the lap traffic car here. 10 laps to go now, 9 for the number 9 of Ty Robertson. No pun intended. Jonathan Smith trying to run out the back bumper of the number 9 of Ty Robertson. Jonathan Smith has been so close all year long. He's been so close so many times at a championship here in the Madness Racing League. He competed for the Season 1 championship. He made the championship 4. Had something come up, could not compete for the championship. Then we kick back over to Season 1 Xfinity. Jonathan Smith, maybe Season 2 Xfinity. Jonathan Smith makes the championship 4. Has to pull his name out of the hat due to complications back at home. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Smith makes it again here in the Next Gen Cup Series. This time, though, will he be able to call himself a champion through the pit cycle right now? He's riding behind Ty Robertson. Ladies and gentlemen, we are closing down on the final laps here in Season 2 of the Next Gen Cup Series, live here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Ladies and gentlemen, we have all of your playoff highlights right here for you. How you also don't desperately need them. Ladies and gentlemen, coming into tonight's event, this was the final 4 drivers competing out for the championship 4. Jonathan Smith, James Fountain, Chase Johnson, Holden Wheeler. Win or outscore your opponents. It's been one hell of a battle here tonight in the championship race. Chase Johnson has no business trying to go run down Jonathan Smith on these 2 fresh Goodyear tires. But he's trying every bit. He's searching. He's looking. Top side, bottom side, middle, trying to find a lane to make something work. Jonathan Smith, though, being told by his spotter, his crew chief, Terry Hughes Jr., you are good on Sunoco Racing fuel. Go run this motherfucker down and win this race. But Jonathan Smith being told by his spotter, Hunter Foley, up on the roof to back it down. Jonathan, there is no need to go win the race here if you don't have to. If you do not have enough, do not overpush it and make a mistake and allow Chase Johnson to even have a chance to strike at that back bumper of the number 13. We've seen Chase Johnson race here tons and tons of times before in the Madness Racing League. Chase Johnson not afraid to get it done, not afraid to rattle a little bit of cages. If he could ever so desperately close up this 6-second gap between him and Jonathan Smith, you best believe you might see a bumper go to the back of the number 13. But it's going to be 3 laps to go this time around on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Jonathan Smith heading behind Ty Robinson off the exit of turn 2. Travo Wall working his way up through the pit cycle. He's on 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Chase Johnson, Kevin Tankos, Nicholas Maynard all by himself heading down the back straightaway. Ty Robertson off the exit of turns 3 and 4. 3 laps to go this time on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Robertson, Smith, Johnson, Maynard, the top 4 here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. And for the final time here tonight, we'll get you caught up here with the playoffs. Ty Robertson in control of the race right now. If he was to win the race here tonight at Chicagoland, Ty Robertson, not one of those playoff 4 eligible race cars that we just showed you on the screen. Ty Robertson came in middle way through the year, part-time. If he was to win the race and hold on for 2 more laps here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel, he would win the race here tonight, but not the championship. Jonathan Smith, if he can get around Ty Robertson in these final 2 laps and win the race, nobody can say anything. It's absolutely Jonathan Smith with the win here tonight. However, if he doesn't go to victory lane, Jonathan Smith has to outscore his opponents, which was Chase Johnson, James Fountain, and Holden Wheeler. James Fountain in the garage area packing up his stuff. White flag is in the air this time around, presented by AFLglobal.com for Ty Robertson. But it's going to be Jonathan Smith sailing up through the banking here at turns 1 and 2 at Chicagoland. Heading off the exit of turn 2, Robertson, Smith, Jonathan Smith looks like he may have done it here tonight. 52 laps have been led and scored in the playoff book. Standing over here to the right of me, Jonathan Smith works out the exit of turns 3 and 4. But it's going to be Ty Robertson heading across the line to win tonight's race. And Jonathan Smith will finish second, followed by Travo Wall crossing the line 2 laps down. Chase Johnson will finish in the 3rd place spot. And here comes Nicholas Maynard and the boogeyman of John Michael Bryant. They'll come across the line as the final 2 contestants here tonight to finish off the championship race. And it's Ty Robertson going to victory lane. Ty Robertson had enough speed there late told you guys they were huffing and puffing, not sure if they were going to be able to have enough race fuel to come home to the end. Jonathan Smith being told by his spotter, Hunter Foley, to back it on down. You did not have to win the race. Jonathan Smith being told right now by the admin from the Madness Racing League is looking nice. They have to tally up the score here and get these championship 4 guys their results to see who is going to be the championship here in Season 2. But ladies and gentlemen, Ty Robertson will get the love from us first. He'll win the race here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel in his Baja Blast Mountain Dew number 9. Ladies and gentlemen, Ty Robertson will burn it down here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel, and he is tonight's race winner here in the Madness Racing League Season 2 Championship race. Part-timer spoils the party here tonight as he burns it down for the fan. Jonathan Smith will come around as he's being told he is the Season 2 champion here for the Next Gen Cup Series, live for the Madness Racing League. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Smith, after all the hard-fought shit that he's been through here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel, ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Smith can finally call himself a champion here in the Cup Series. Ladies and gentlemen, these 2 guys will continue to celebrate here on the front stretch. Jonathan Smith burns it down as he's just gotten the news that he is the champion here for the Madness Racing League. Jonathan Smith burning it down here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel, as well as the race winner as Ty Robertson. Ty Robertson able to share the love there and the TV time with Jonathan Smith as he celebrates his Season 2 champion as a great part-timer. Ty Robertson heads the victory lane. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll head a commercial break and we'll have all of your driver interviews when we return.
Everything they complicate, everything they steal your fate, every day, but you can't believe it. Take yourself far away from nothingness, million miles from emptiness. Suffocate, everything they complicate, everything they steal your fate, every day, but you can't believe it. Take yourself far away from nothingness, million miles from emptiness. Remember the days of the innocence before it came in waves. Remember the trust, it was blown away into a...
Welcome back here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel, ladies and gentlemen. A hell of a race here tonight for the Season 2 championship for the Next Gen Cup Series for the Madness Racing League. All these races will be posted over to the top right portion of your screen on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. Ladies and gentlemen, you have just set through 125 laps of the Season 2 championship race. And ladies and gentlemen, our final winner here tonight was Ty Robertson from Coleman, Alabama. He only knows how to go fast. He showed us that here tonight. He's going to victory lane and spoiling the playoff party here tonight. So that means the playoff drivers had to win it on the points. They could not win it on the wins. It's Ty Robinson's in victory lane. That led Jonathan Smith to finally become our Season 2 champion here for the Cup Series, live on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. And I believe we may have our pit reporter down there with both of these drivers as well as a couple more. Let's see what they had to say. Ladies and gentlemen, down there on the victory lane with the race winner, Ty Robertson. Y'all got a copy?
Down here in victory lane at the Chicagoland Speedway, home of the Windy City. And ladies and gentlemen, we are with the race winner, driver of the number 9, Ty Robertson. Ty, this one must feel good to bring a win home here to close out the season for the Next Gen Cup Series, as we will retire the Next Gen cars and move over to the Gen 6 cars. Just kind of walk us through what was going through your crew chief's head up there on the box. You kind of throw up a different kind of pit strategy there late, able to grab the race lead and bring home the victory.
Yeah, honestly, it's been a struggle in this car all season. I'm not too good in the race on them. I seem to be really good at qualifying. But, yeah, we really good on the long run here tonight. And Jonathan over there, working with him all race, trying to get him in a good position. We're able to do that. He wound up P2 with the chip, so congrats to him. Looking forward to the Gen 6 next season.
Ty Robertson continues where he left off here in the Madness Racing League upon all the series to pick up another win and add that one to his career book. We'll scoot down here to the second place driver here tonight, and looks like going to be the Season 2 champion of Jonathan Smith. John, this one has to feel good here as you finally tack off that championship from your task list and be able to throw the trophy into yourself. Kind of walk us through the season that you had. It started off at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You kind of got nabbed at one from Nashville, but you were able to rebound there. You were one of the very few winners that we did have that repeated multiple times on the win. You'll come here tonight fairly snubbed out of another one. Just kind of walk us through it.
Yeah, it was fun racing here. I've been racing here, practicing for a little bit now, trying to finally get one championship down at least. James Stoughton was super fast out there. I think clean air was a big difference. It was a big player here. As soon as you got the clean air, it feels like you can kind of control the pace of the track and everything like that. James just got loose, but he was definitely a car to beat tonight, very fast. Chase out there catching up the whole time, and I was watching out my deltas trying to see where he was coming out those last few laps, and he was definitely hauling, catching. But congrats to Ty. As soon as I figured out that I had enough laps led at least, and I saw James do it, and I was afraid I was going to mess up, so I let Ty just kind of go by, like, got to get slower. I think Ty would have won it anyways, but big shout out to my spotter, Hunter Foley, working with Baker Knapp tonight, as I guess we'll say crew chief, to help get the car right, working with Ty and Kenko's, Hughes, Terry Hughes, and Trent, trying to get this car right and some good practice in so we can go out here and win the championship. I also got to shout out Engine 4 Coffee Company, Premier Setup Shops, Nap Daddy Racing, 8XI, and Rush Motorsports.
And that'll be the Season 2 champion of Jonathan Smith. He'll head over to his family over there on the box. He'll celebrate with his team, and we'll scoot down here to the P3 finisher, Season 1 defending champion Chase Johnson. A close one here tonight. P3 on the tower here is what it'll call for the finish. Just not really the races you were looking for here tonight. Kind of got lodged up in traffic, involved in that accident earlier tonight. Kind of walk us through what you've seen from your windshield as tonight progressed on and the race began to go on throughout the pit cycles.
First of all, I just want to say congratulations to Jonathan Smith on winning the championship, and congratulations to Ty for winning the race. You guys were super fast, but yeah, just couldn't really. We were missing a little bit of speed tonight. Don't really know where we could have went different with the car, but yeah, we were just missing just a tad bit of speed. But all in all, it just wasn't going to be to win the championship. It just didn't happen tonight, but we'll add everything to the notebook that we learned tonight. Just kind of get the car a little bit better here on the Cup side. We're lacking a little bit in the last few weeks in speed, but we'll find it. We'll go to work and get ready to dust off the old Gen 6 out and get them ready to go for next season. But all in all, I enjoyed it. Great season. Thanks for putting it on. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the Gen 6 season. So thanks again, and looking forward to watching the back.
And that'll be the driver of the number 51 of Chase Johnson Race, and it'll be the only one of his Chase Johnson Racing teammates to finish the race here tonight in the P3 spot. We'll scoot down here to the number 02 Ford Mustang of Nicholas Maynard. Nick, kind of walk us through what you experienced here tonight at the Chicagoland Speedway. He wasn't racing for the championship, but every chance out here is another lap added into the notebook to learn. Yeah, it was a hell of a race there earlier to start the event. I thought we were probably going to get a couple green flag pit stops here tonight underneath the belt. Shout out to the Maynard Motor kids out on pit road. They did a hell of a job here tonight. Come out on that first green flag pit stop. Not sure what the 23 was doing back there, lap car, racing the leaders and stuff. I'm not sure what he had in mind there, but you'll have that sometimes. But a P4 would be able to come back from the back half of the field in this dark horse Ford Mustang. Just couldn't think everybody better back at the Team Penske development shop than all the Maynard Motor guys. Just got that old Gen 6 car here in a couple weeks, and try to pick up where we left off. 3-time winner there in the Cup Series. And that's the driver of the number 02 here. He'll finish in the P4 spot tonight at the Chicagoland Speedway. We'll scoot down here to the number 23 of John Michael Bryant. John, kind of walk us through your race here tonight, or should I say kind of walk us through your mind, the Gorilla Mind sponsorship on board here tonight on this Toyota Camry. The Toyota's brought some speed there early, really got out front into the race lead, and it looks like you had the car to beat. Not sure what happened over there in the entry of turn 3, involved in an accident. Come off a pit road, just didn't have the speed that you were looking for after getting the damage repaired. Just kind of walk us through your race and where the 23 went wrong.
Yeah, we unloaded off the truck with pretty good speed here. Love Chicagoland. You know, I thought we were doing good. You know, just wanted to get out there and lead some laps and do what we could do. Let the 24 go by us there. You know, didn't want to race him too hard, but I also wasn't going to just move over for him. You know, I don't know what people expect out of you in that situation. I did the right thing there. And then, you know, we're racing back there with the 5 car, and you know, we get 3 wide. It happens, and then come off of turn 2, and next thing I know, I'm looking at the back of the field out the front of the car. I don't know what the guy's problem is. We'll have a conversation about it, and you know, we'll watch the replays if it's something I could have done differently. You know, other than that, good speed out of the car. Had to fight back. Puffed up off the pit road down there. Hit the bump, got in the gas too hard, went around. Other than that, you know, it is what it is.
And that's the driver of the Toyota Camry number 23 Gorilla Mind machine here tonight for the Madness Racing League. He'll bring home top 5 and add it to his leaderboard stats on the season. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the championship race here. You've heard it all here tonight from the Chicagoland Speedway. Ty Robertson goes to victory lane here to kick off the final part of the season, and Jonathan Smith will bring home the championship back to Goldsboro, North Carolina. We'll throw it back up to the booth.
And ladies and gentlemen, we will throw it up to a quick commercial break. We'll be back here in just a moment with all your post-race show. Welcome back here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. We have just wrapped up the Chicagoland Speedway for the Season 2 Championship race for the Next Gen Cup Series live here on the Booty Scoot Racing channel for the Madness Racing League. It was one hell of a show here tonight on this beautiful 1.5 mile oval racetrack, whatever the hell you really want to call it. You can have it however you like, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a 125 lap race here tonight that saw Ty Robertson go to victory lane here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel from Coleman, Alabama. Jonathan Smith brought home the Season 2 championship here tonight on the Booty Scoot Racing channel. His first one ever for the Madness Racing League, and he'll have to take that one very high in pride. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cup Series third place spot, and second place championship driver will go to third place driver will go to Chase Johnson. And ladies and gentlemen, Nicholas Mander brought home the 4th place spot. The Boogeyman brought home the 5th place spot. Trevor Walt will bring home the 6th place spot. Kevin Takos snaps the 7th place spot, as well as Tony Cook grabbing the 8th place spot here tonight. James Fountain will go ahead and bring home that 9th place spot here tonight to round up tonight's event in his number 24 machine. Bobby Kyle didn't have the race he was looking for tonight in his BKM Racing 77 machine, 777 machine, 81 of Terry Hughes Jr. caught in the outside, safe for barrier in that accident. Will finish in the 11th place spot. Corey Riptide Tesner involved in the incident as well earlier tonight. It'll end his day quick and early. Trent Hughes will round out the 13th place spot here tonight, as well as Holden Wheeler from Mooresville, North Carolina, who will round out the back half of the field here tonight of the championship for contenders. Ladies and gentlemen, want to remind you to head on over to the YouTube page located in the top right portion of your screen. And ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Smith wins the championship here tonight for the Madness Racing League Next Gen Cup Series. It's presented by Premier Racing Setups. Head on over to Premier Racing Setups today to go grab all of your perfect setup needs. Head on over to NapDaddyRacing.com. Now you see all the sponsors there for Jonathan Smith on the number 13 to go grab all of your iRacing paint scheme, livery, and needs. 81XI Racing wins the championship here tonight with Jonathan Smith, driver of the number 13 here at the Chicagoland Speedway. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next Friday night to kick off the TNA Truck Series live from the Nashville Super Speedway.
Fight to keep your life. Get out to fate, the choice is yours to make. Don't live